of Prime Minister Narendra Modi upon his arrival now to Singapore. As far as his visit is now concerned, of course, when it comes to a significant Indian community that resides in the Asian country, as both of the countries, we talk about Brunei, of course, that has been a historic visit of the Prime Minister earlier, and Singapore, as they are important partners of India in the Act East policy and in the Indo-Pacific vision as well. The Prime Minister's departure statement that came in, but already it seems that this is strictly business as far as the Prime Minister's visit to Singapore. As he lands in Singapore, Capital Land has also decided to double the funds under the management in India by 2028. We have big investment announcements already coming in, Rishabh, upon the arrival of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as we're getting his pictures from Singapore.
Well, definitely, the Prime Minister has landed in Singapore. Remember, Prime Minister Act East policy, 10 years, is shaping up now, and Prime Minister has landed in Singapore after completing his Brunei leg of the East Asia trip. In Singapore, the major focus would be on business and especially semiconductor. Remember, just last week, the cabinet has announced a new semiconductor fab in Gujarat, and that is something that can materialize during this visit, is what we are given to understand. The MOUs on food security, MOUs on pharmaceutical, connect and exchange, and semiconductor in offing. Once the bilateral talks and joint statement comes out, we'll have a clear picture on what extent these MOUs have been signed. But definitely, it's a strictly business visit where India and Singapore would like to take the strategic partnership that they have further.
And we also talk about, as far as when it comes to, as you were mentioning, Rishabh, the semiconductor ecosystems of Singapore and India, as both the Prime Ministers, of course, the Prime Minister will be meeting his counterpart there, will be visiting the AEM holdings as well, the briefing on the semiconductor ecosystem that will be taking place, exchange of views that will be happening, MOUs that are likely to be signed, and cooperation that will happen in manpower skilling in semiconductor sector, as we are also looking at the increase in cooperation that will be taking place as far as training and recruitment by Singapore firms. Rishabh, this is something that will help when it comes to India's youth to better their skills and to find better opportunities.
Well, definitely, the skilling is something that everyone is looking at. People-to-people connect. Remember, Singapore is known for skilled workforce, and that is something that India would like to partner with. Semiconductor definitely is something that India is eyeing, given that about 10% of semiconductor technology production and equipment come from Singapore. That is something that makes Singapore very important when it comes to when it comes to semiconductor sector. Apart from that, also when it comes to ASEAN, India's outreach to Singapore and Brunei will help India to get better at ASEAN Summit in October next month. Apart from that, what we are also looking at is digital payment infrastructure, DPI, the digital public infrastructure. India and Singapore already have UPI agreements in place, and Singapore has separate agreements with Indonesia and Malaysia, among other countries, which India via Singapore would like to take it forward. So a DPI push that India is giving to its Act East policy is something that can materialize during this visit as well.
So as we are looking at, even when it comes to the lot of influx of foreign investment, that would lead to the possibility of increased competition among developers. And also when we are looking at increased foreign investments, that could also contribute to job creation, economic growth, infrastructure development that will be taking place and be giving across as a positive effect, Rishabh, when it comes to the Indian economy.
Well, definitely, see, Indian economy is shaping up, and things like semiconductor will be an addition to it. Remember, India wants to become the manufacturing hub when it comes to chips and other such material, and semiconductors will help India achieve that feat as well. So definitely, this visit will help boost Indian economy. India is trying to be a 5 trillion economy as soon as possible. We are already the 4th largest economy in the world, aspiring to be the 3rd one in next 2 to 3 years. So definitely, such visits, such business visits will
So
help.
the Prime Minister there arriving in Singapore after his very successful visit and historic one to Brunei, as well as the Singapore as the country. What has been now coming in as what is also being posted on part of Singapore, the capital land, one of Asia's diversified real estate groups that has announced plans to double funding for India. The group that is reportedly going to invest around 45,000 crore rupees in the next 4 years. How significant is this, Rishabh?